Wisdom. It's an incredibly valuable asset. Some would say more precious than gold. It's attractive, appealing, admirable. Conversely, a lack of wisdom is the basis of immaturity, blind spots, and bad decisions. Wisdom. It can be gained over time, but it can't be rushed. But wisdom can be shared. That's precisely what we are here to do right now. Today, we are here to hack wisdom, to distill it, to understand it, and to process it. Why? To get better at life. Welcome to The Main Thing. This is your new 9-minute podcast. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg, and I've set out to interview the wisest people I know. We'll see what we can learn from each one when they're faced with an incredibly difficult, soul-piercing question. Welcome to episode 24 of the Main Thing podcast and another dose of wisdom. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg. I want to give a special warm welcome to you, the returning listener. Welcome back and thank you. If you're listening for the first time, I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss a single dose of wisdom. I'm so very excited to introduce you to my special guest, Rich O'Brien. Rich O'Brien is an experienced IT professional with 3 decades in the telecommunications industry. He is a graduate of St. Leo University. Rich is also a sports car enthusiast, an avid reader, and a leader in his church. This husband and proud father of 3 is a native West Virginian who resides in Scott Depot with his wife, Theresa. Get ready. Over the next 9 minutes, you will discover why Rich O'Brien is indeed one of the wisest people I know. Rich O'Brien, good morning. Thanks for coming on to the Main Thing podcast.
Good morning, Skip. Thanks for having me.
Boy, what a treat it is to be able to do a show face-to-face coming out of the COVID-19 coronavirus. All of my interviews have been on Skype or FaceTime audio, and nice to be in the same place with you, my friend, and socially distanced, but together.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming, Skip. It's good to see you again.
Mm-hmm. Rich, let's give our audience a little bit of background and context for how we know each other, how we met, and how we got to this point today.
Okay. Well, I think it was in 2015. A friend of mine, someone who actually worked for me, his name was Dan Page. He introduced us. I was looking for someone to help run our B2B marketing, and he had reached out to you, asking you for some recommendations. And actually, I believe you became interested.
Yes.
And you and I met for breakfast one morning, and the rest is history. Well, actually, we met for several breakfasts.
I did not know what a podcast was, had never heard of a podcast, the idea, the concept, had certainly not listened to one, and absolutely had no idea or dream of recording one before I met you, Rich. Mm-hmm. And so when I did join your team and started working under you, the first project you gave me was to launch a B2B podcast.
I'm a firm believer in dreaming big. I think you have to have big dreams, but you also have to execute. And a part of the execution of the plan was to find the right person that could drive the results and to make sure that we could see it through to completion. So great job.
Well, thank you. You know, I've worked for probably at least 24 bosses, managers, supervisors in my career. And one of the things that I always loved about working for you, and still to this day respect about you, is you have an incredible talent for matching people to tasks and putting people in assignments that line up with their strengths and also their potential for growth. And not a lot of managers have that ability. And so you really are gifted in that area. It's a win-win. It's an uplifting spiral for the team, the way you lead.
Thank you.
Well, Rich, given that it's a short format podcast, now, we transition to the big question that I've been just really looking forward to asking you. Rich O'Brien, what's the main thing that you've learned in your lifetime so far?
Don't give up. Dream big and don't give up.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that we limit ourselves based on what we've accomplished in the past. And sometimes there's a certain point in our life where we feel like we had the right rhythm. And we set that as our bar.
Yeah.
If I could just get back to when I was happy again or when I was successful.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think that the good Lord created us to be so much more than that. And we allow fears to get in our way. We allow obstacles to get in our way. And I'm just a firm believer that you dream big, you write it down, and then you execute. And as we talked earlier, it's about finding the right people.
Yeah.
And not just to work around you, but to be a part of your network. I'm very particular about who my friends are. I don't want any negative people in my life.
Yeah.
I want realists.
Sure.
I want people to be honest with me, but I have no time for negativity.
Yeah.
And those are the people that I hire as well.
Yeah. So the message is don't give up.
Don't give up.
When did that crystallize for you to say that's the most important thing that I could share with my kids, with people I know, with the listeners on the audience here with us today?
Well, most people our age, I don't know how this happened, but our parents told us that we couldn't quit sports. If you start something, you can't quit.
Right.
I was taught to never be a quitter. So if I start something, I had to finish it. And that was just great parenting from my mom and dad. But I started seeing the benefits from that as I grew. And my work ethic was shaped around that. So even as some of my early jobs, when a supervisor or a manager told me to do something, I tried to do it the best that I could. It really happened for me in 2010.
Okay.
There was something that happened in my career, and I thought that it was devastating. But it was actually one of the best things that could have ever happened.
Yeah.
It was a change in companies that I worked for.
Okay.
My responsibilities expanded. I became more accountable to new things. And professionally, I started growing. And it was really gravitating to the opportunity and not shying away from it and feeling like that it was something that was going to hurt me later on.
You might have initially thought it could be a setback.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly how I felt was this is a huge setback. I've got this network of professional colleagues over here. Now I've got to start all over. But I'm convinced that if you have that attitude not to give up and you go at it with all that you have, you can quickly create equity, professional equity within a new organization. I've listened to one of your previous podcasts with Walter Bond, and he was talking about how, it's really having the confidence within yourself. And I believe that if you have that attitude or that mindset of don't give up, you've got to have confidence that you can accomplish what's ahead of you and what it is that you want to be or what you want to become. And so dream big and don't give up.
Yeah. Confidence for sure. And then some faith, right?
Absolutely.
If we believe that God has something better in store for us down the road, maybe not immediately, but down the road, then that requires faith, doesn't it?
It does. And, the Bible says that he didn't give us the spirit of fear. He gave us the power, love, and a sound mind. And if that's what he gave us, then why would I disappoint him and do the opposite of what he gave me?
Indeed. Rich, I know that you're a believer, a man of faith. Share with our listeners what your faith means to you personally and professionally. How do you navigate being a believer? How do you allow your spiritual life to influence your professional life?
Yeah, it is a huge part of who I am. And I fail a lot. Like many of us, I fail at it a lot. But I believe, as we talked about earlier, in not giving up. And I believe that he forgives us and he expects us to keep going.
Rich, share with our listeners how you start your day and talk a little bit about how you connect with God in the morning and what that looks like for you on a daily basis.
Well, it's the Word. The Word is the truth. And I start each day in the Word. My wife and I, we try to do it together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a good friend of mine named Skip Linneberg actually told me about journaling. I had never really journaled before. I always thought it was a good idea, but I never had really taken the time to do that. So I've started doing that.
Yeah.
And some of the best thoughts that I have come from in the morning as I'm reading the Word. And just to go through.
With that journal right there beside you as you're reading.
Yeah. And I'll read Psalms, Proverbs, and then another scripture. And then to write my thoughts down as the Word is laid out before me. It's comforting and it helps me. It gives me the confidence that I need to start my day.
Absolutely. I completely agree. It's been a game changer for me. And I'll tell you, before I started journaling, I was afraid what I would write on that pad. I wasn't sure what was going to come out. Some of it I was proud of, some of it I was not so proud of. But we don't have to hide anything from the God.
Yeah.
He knows it all anyway.
Not everyone's going to believe the way I believe, but I know for certain that I can help people. I can do that. And that's what I want to do.
That's right. That's a beautiful way to live. That's a powerful way to live. And Rich, I think that's a great place to stop our podcast for today. But I just can't thank you enough for our friendship, for the opportunities you've given me, and then for today, for you to come on and share your wisdom and to share your heart and your faith. It means a lot.
You're a great friend, Skip. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Wow, 9 minutes is up. That goes by incredibly fast, doesn't it? Time flies when you're hacking wisdom. I hope you're left wanting more. Sync up with us again next time on The Main Thing for 9 more minutes of wisdom. Hey, it's Skip here. I want to thank you for listening and subscribing. If you want to show your support for The Main Thing podcast, I'm excited to let you know that we now have a merchandise store. So if you want to get some Main Thing merch, just go to teespring.com/themainthing. Teespring is TEESPRING. So that's teespring.com/themainthing. There you can find t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, tote bags, all emblazoned with the beautiful The Main Thing podcast logo. Check it out. Go get some merch. Thank you in advance.